We're going to start our unit on multiplying fractions. Before I teach you the standard algorithm though, I just want you to visually see how we can multiply fractions. So what you'll need for this is two different colored, I would prefer colored pencils. So you can either go get colored pencils if you haven't gotten those already, or take your own out. But get two different colors and make sure they aren't both of them very dark, and that you can tell the difference between the two. So for the first one, number 1, 1/3 times 3/4. So you can see my grid here, and it's already split up. If I look at the columns, they're split up into fourths. So which fraction has it split up into fourths? This one. And how many fourths should I shade in? I should shade in 3 columns, 3 out of the 4. So go ahead and shade those in. Okay, and then if I look at the rows, so the ones going horizontally, I have those split up into thirds. 1, 2, 3. And so this fraction you can see is split up into thirds. And how many thirds are they split up into? Or how many should I split them up into? I should split or color in one of those thirds. Okay, and then so you can go back and look at this as an array. So think of your multiplication tables, those are split up into arrays. So remember, you can do, well, I have 1, 2, 3 going down, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4 going across. So 3 times 4 is 12. Your array total is your denominator. Your numerator then is going to be how many of these squares out of 12 are shaded in with both colors. Keep in mind this one is not. I know this is a little bit of a darker color, but I only shaded in 3 of the 4s with orange. And then I have 1, 2, 3 that are shaded in with both. So 3 out of the 12 are shaded in with both colors. And of course I can simplify this. 12 is divisible by 3. Remember, that's one of our rules. So if your denominator is divisible by your numerator, go ahead and divide by your numerator. So 3 divided by 3 is 1, and 12 divided by 3 is 4. So the simplified answer for number 1 is 1/4. Alright, let's look at number 2. So again, you want to look at the way your array is split up into and look at the fractions, and that will tell you which one you're going to color into. So 1/2. So I'm looking either at the rows or at the columns for which one this whole thing is split up into 2 parts. So that would be the columns, the ones going vertically. I only have 2 vertical columns, and I need to shade in one of those. One of the times we get caught up with the algorithm, you know, we multiply this and multiply that and simplify, but we forget why we're actually doing that, or what is the visual representation of that. So this is a good exercise to show you where we're getting those numbers from. Okay, so now I have 1/2 of my array shaded in, and now this should be split up into eighths. So 8 rows I should have going down. Let's just double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yes. And how many of those do I need to shade in? I need to shade in 5 of those. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now again, look at this as an array like your multiplication table. You can count to get your denominator. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times 2. 8 times 2, 16, that's our denominator, right? That's our whole part. We have 16 as a whole. So your total, or your whole, is going to be your denominator. Okay, and then I need to go back and look at how many of each color did I shade in. And I know it's kind of hard to tell because pink and orange are very similar. So if you can't see, I'll just go over it, but I shaded in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these with both colors. So that's my numerator. So 5/16, they don't share a common factor, so it's already simplified. And you can see down here to steps, we can change this x to the word of. So when we read it, we actually say what is 1/2 of 5/8. We shade the first fraction in the grid, so that's what I did by shading it in orange with 1/2. Shade the second fraction a different color, so I shaded it in 5/8. And then what part of the whole thing overlaps? Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the whole thing, which is 16, so 5/16. That's my fraction. Alright, let's turn the page. Okay, so again, 3/4. I need to make sure that I'm shading in the right way that I'm shading in 3/4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm not going to shade in that way, but 1, 2, 3, 4. So I need to shade in 3 vertical ones. So 3/4. And if you want to go ahead and do this and then check, you can do that too, so just pause at any time if you feel like doing it yourself and checking. But because you're using color and it's kind of hard to erase color, you want to make sure that you're doing it correctly too, so either way would work. Alright, so we have 3/4 of our grid shaded in. Now I need to shade in 1/6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to go horizontally now, and I only need to shade in one of those. And remember your array. I have 6 down, and I have 4 across. So with arrays, you multiply. 6 times 4, that's your denominator, that is your whole. I have 24 squares. Of course, you could also just count them too, but that can be kind of cumbersome and take a lot of time. So out of all of my squares, which is 24, how many are shaded in with both colors? 1, 2, 3. 3 24ths. And remember, it's a rule. Is my denominator divisible by my numerator? Yes. 3 is a factor of 24, so go ahead and divide by your numerator. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 24 divided by 3 is 8. So this is your simplified fraction of 1/8. Okay. Next one, 1/5 times 1/6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I need to shade in this way with 1. And 1/6 going down. Okay, so remember your arrays. I have 6 that way. I have 5 that way. With arrays, you multiply. 6 times 5 is 30. So I have a total of 30 squares. A fraction is always out of the whole. So I have a total of 30 squares. And how many of the 30 squares are shaded in with both colors? Just 1. Okay, next problem. 1/4. I'm going to shade this in. And 2/3. Okay, so how many squares are there? There are 12 squares total, and there's 2 shaded in with both colors. My denominator is divisible by my numerator, so I'm going to go ahead and simplify to get 1/6. Alright, 7/8 times 1/5. So 7/8, I need to shade in 7. Going across. My color pencil's kind of dying on me. I need to sharpen it. Alright, good enough. So that's 7/8, and then 1/5. Shade in one of these going down, just one column here. Okay, so how many squares are there? Well, I would have 8 going this way and 5 going this way. So 8 times 5, there are a total of 40 squares. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 out of the 40 shade it in. 7 and 40 do not share a common factor, so 7/40 is your fraction in simplest form. On the back, there are 2 questions I just want you to think about. Look at any patterns. How did you get your denominator? How did you get your numerator? And if you can, I want you to try to write an algorithm for multiplication of fractions without using visual aids. So look at the pattern you just wrote about. What is an algorithm? That would be the steps. So what are the steps you can take to multiply fractions? I want you to write something there that you think. It doesn't need to be right, just write anything that you think you're seeing from the patterns.